Real News Network.
Warning from Joe Biden to his brother. For Chuck's sake, watch yourself. Biden warns family over business dealings. And this one, he's talking about his little brother, Frank Biden, who has all kinds of complex business arrangements, apparently, including a position at a law firm, even though he's not a lawyer. And the law firm is boasting about his brother's tie to his brother, the president. Want to bring in former governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich. Happens to have been a roommate, I believe, of Frank Biden way back in the day. Anyway, Governor, first of all, welcome back to Newsmax. How are you?
I'm doing great, Greg. Thank you for having me. Congratulations on the success of your show. I'm a frequent watcher.
Appreciate it.
And a big admirer of yours, by the way.
Oh,
you got backbone.
Governor, thank you very, very much. Hey, what was Frank Biden like in college? First of all, what college was it like, and how long were you guys roommates?
Well, we weren't roommates. He actually was in the same law school as me at Pepperdine Law School in Malibu Beach, California. He was there the year before I got there, and apparently he didn't last beyond 1 year. You know, if you live in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones. I wasn't exactly setting the world on fire in law school either, though I did make it through at the bottom of my class. But Francis Biden apparently was there the year before, and I heard stories about him. He was a kind of a colorful figure, and I guess he liked to use this line, consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. And apparently he was consistent in saying that line over and over again, because I heard it and I never met him.
All right, that is quite a statement. All right, so he didn't finish law school because he is now a non-lawyer. That's apparent in all the advertising. An arrangement like this, and you've been in public service for a long time, where you've got someone out there publicly through advertising saying, my brother is the president. Maybe it's legal, but it's cheesy to say the least. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are this. President Biden actually revealed a little bit about how his sense of his mindset and how he views these things when he hears about his brother and he says, watch out. In other words, don't get caught. He ought to tell his brother, don't do it. And what he ought to do as the president of the United States is what I did when I was governor, issue an executive order. He's done 40 executive orders already. Do another one. Take your pen out and sign your name to an executive order that says no family member of yours, not your brother, not your wife, not any of your children, nobody related to you should be able to profit from your office as president of the United States. Now, he can do that by banning his family from doing business with the government. He can also do it by saying anything that might remotely be perceived as being monetizing of the president's office, that should be prohibited. President Biden has the power to do that with a stroke of the pen through the executive order, and he ought to do it.
Interesting, because so far I think they've only issued a few words. And here's the press secretary talking about just how straight and narrow this administration is on ethics issues.
I'm not going to get into private conversations between the president and his family members. We all have lots of conversations with different family members, I'm sure. The president is committed to ensuring we have the most ethically vigorous administration in history.
Just that. Committed. He is committed to the most ethically vigorous administration in history. That's quite a statement, but it's just that, a statement. What you said, that would be binding or something.
That would be binding. That would be have the force of an effect of law. And here's another reason why he must do it. Joe Biden, President Biden, is the product of that Washington establishment. He's been there since 1973. There's a mindset and a culture that goes along with being in that place for as long as they've been. There's this sense of entitlement. And with career professional politicians like our president, they see opportunities, maybe not directly for themselves, but for other members of their families, where they can cash in and do it where they can benefit financially, even though it creates all kinds of difficulties with regard to the president's ability to govern. His son is already under federal investigation for issues relating to President Biden's role when he was the vice president. The last thing the American people need, and frankly, the last thing this president needs, is to have his brother out there doing ads for a law firm when the brother's not even a lawyer, just cashing in on the name. That's wrong. And the president, our president, President Biden, can immediately stop it by doing that executive order.
Yeah, no, it looks just awful. I agree on the surface. By the way, you mentioned he's been there for a long time, but yeah, 1973. He got there before Watergate started to really heat up. And back then, I mean, there weren't many senators, I would imagine, who weren't rich men. I mean, that was kind of part of the deal pre-Watergate, right? I mean, it was a totally different world, and that's when Joe Biden was kind of being formed. I would imagine that that mindset, it would be hard to shake somewhat.
Well, those are formative years, exactly. When Joe Biden was first elected to the United States Senate from Delaware, he was 30 years old. That's the actual minimum age to be a U.S. Senator. He was a very young man. And so he's then spent the next, 40-something years of his life in that environment. And the way he thinks, the way he operates, his values are a lot more shaped by that than probably his upbringing in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So, no, I think this is a very serious example of how the Biden world views politics and government. And they seem to think it's perfectly okay for a family member like a brother to go out and promote the fact that his brother's the president of the United States and make money off of it. I think it's very wrong. And again, President Biden can stop that with the stroke of the pen. And I'll say this again, in a little bit in his defense, it's a natural thing to get caught up in a world when you've been there as long as you have, and you tend to see the world a certain way. What's wrong with President Biden is the fact that he hasn't learned the lessons of history. He should have learned from Watergate. He didn't. He should have learned from the savings and loan scandal that happened in the late 80s. He didn't. He should have learned with regard to the Clinton administration and the operations of Hillary Clinton. He hasn't. And he can do something immediately, and that is this executive order, which I think would go at least a bit of a way towards reassuring the American people that this is going to be a different administration from others. And one of the ironic things about this is we just had an administration with President Trump. They made all their money before he came to Washington to be president and serve his country. He didn't need the job to get ahead financially. Too many of these people in politics get into politics first, create a resume, then they go out and make a whole bunch of money. And I suspect too many of them are motivated by that more than they are by serving the public and doing what's right for the people.
Yep. Fame, fortune, all that stuff. He already had it. It was a time to give back. And I don't think enough folks really recognize that or appreciate it. Certainly no one in the media. Governor Rod Blagojevich, we got to leave it there. Thank you, sir, very, very much. To be continued. How's the podcast coming?
No, it's great. It's fantastic. I'm getting tired of hearing myself talking, but we're doing good.
What's the name of it again? The Rod, what's it called again?
The Lightning Rod Podcast.
Lightning Rod Podcast. Folks, check it out. Thanks, Governor. We'll be right back.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.